same perm that just like, make your hair, the curl pattern basically go away and look straight. And I got that, I don't know, probably when I was like 7 or 8 up until college, and my hair broke off really badly. And I did sports in high school, but as a child, I was just like constantly like, don't run too hard so you don't sweat it out. Right. And my mom, I could tell she didn't like saying that. Like she didn't mean to, but she also knew like she didn't have money to go take me back every week. Right. And so finally we came to an agreement. Like she didn't want to stop me from exercising in high school. So she would like roll it at night and wrap it. I don't know if you guys did the wrap, if you had a relaxer. And that helped me to keep it up. I would also wear a scarf sometimes. But I just kind of doubt. So I'll stop there and talk about my journey now, having dreads later on, so someone else can share.
Well, I hated getting my hair done as well. From when I took swimming lessons as a child, I remember I couldn't swim, water going to my nose, and I cried when they did my hair. And I was
Mm.
tender headed. I remember one time, I think it was my birthday, and my mother put those, those rollers with the little spikes, and they
Oh
put
no,
in my
I
hair.
remember those.
And
Yes.
couldn't get
Oh
them because
no.
I had so much hair, so she cut them out. And
Oh,
I remember when we moved to Mississippi, my grandmother did hair. She pressed it, and I hated it because I felt like she was gonna burn my ears. Had to be still, and
right.
then
Yeah.
when I went outside, it just poof because I was in Mississippi. Humidity is crazy, so it was pointless for me sitting in her chair
Right.
burning my hair with the hot comb.
Oh, the hot comb.
The Woo. hot comb.
I remember the hot
Woo.
comb. That's
Between
silly.
those rollers and the sponge rollers, Dr. Brown,
Yeah,
I
the
totally
sponge.
understand.
You know what?
Totally.
I'm being triggered right now because that hot comb, I couldn't directly use the hot comb because my hair was too thin. But do you
Mm.
remember when they did the one where it plugged in instead of the stove?
I've
Yeah.
seen those, and you could put it in a little container, like
The
a little
little, yeah.
metal,
The
yeah,
burns I received,
on the
Yeah.
ears.
all up in here.
Yeah, me too. Oh
Yeah, no,
man.
it's definitely an experience that we go through from a young age with our hair, whether it's our family members knowing how to maintain it or not knowing how to maintain it. It's something that we have to grow to learn how to do at a very young age. So my question is, once you realize there were some challenges, what are some of the things that you tried to do that were like a struggle that didn't work, and then you had to progressively get better at? Oh, Sonia's laughing. She's
Well,
ready to
I
go
so
first.
I'm totally interrupting you, Dominique, because you didn't even finish asking the question, and here I am like busting up over here. But I think like the first thing I had to do was to embrace my hair as being different, right? So like similar to you, Dominique, my mom is not black. She's Swedish and Danish and has hair that will not curl. So enter me and totally different situation going on. My dad doesn't know what to do because his hair is totally different. And so it was really just me being able to understand and accept the fact that I have hair different from my parents, one, and that I'm going to have to figure this out kind of on my own, because as much as you reach out to friends and colleagues who might have, similar looking hair, everybody's hair is different. So the sooner I embrace that, the sooner I could get along my journey of stopping feathering my bangs, because feathered bangs do not work on our hair. Okay, just in case you're wondering about that, don't do it. It is not a good look. You end up with a fist on your head. It's not good. So that was my first part of acceptance, was or getting to a better journey, which was just realizing and accepting the fact that my hair is different.
Yeah, I think for me, I had to accept. So I used to get picked on for my hair not flowing or having any kind of, I don't know, movement to it, because I know there's people out here that give different hair types a category, like 4C, whatever it is. But my hair, it did not, when I was younger, flow, and it just kind of, you put a curl in it and just stuck right there, whether that be the products or whatever it was. So I think for me, I had to accept that my hair would not look like some of the other, my classmates and things of that nature, and I had to adjust. And unfortunately, my mom did not have much patience with my hair. And so I learned to do braids very young. So that was something that I was connected to very young, because it was something that she would just pay the money for, and it would be in there for a couple months, and she really did not have to worry about it. So I was kind of attached to that lifestyle very early.
that it's like you had to become a young entrepreneur for yourself. And you know what? That's something that's shared across the board is the way that we learn how to do our hair is so unique because it takes detail and patience, and you almost have to become a chemist when you do our
100%.
hair. So, but I don't want to cut the next person off. I saw both doctors. Which doctor wants to wants to go
You can go
next?
ahead.
You go ahead. Go ahead. I was just agreeing.
Oh yeah, me too. I was lucky. My mom, she was really patient, but I just remember getting braids once. We found I don't know how we found her, but we found this woman who I could actually go to her house, and that helped a lot because she was very awesome. My mom came with me though, but we were with her for years. She would braid my hair in different styles, but I was lucky. My mom never put my hair down, but I still knew like it's the right way and it's the wrong way, right, for it to be.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't directed personally at me, luckily, but it's still like when Chris Rock's movie Good Hair came out. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Mm-hmm.
So I was literally in the hairdresser getting my last perm, watching it as the woman's putting the perm in my hair. And I was like, I saw the Coca-Cola bottle break down and I said, my mouth was just wide open. So I knew at that point, like I was a teenager though, like old enough to make my own decisions. Um, like in college, just to be clear, so because I was really young entering college. I was 17. So I think when I was 18, that's when it happened. And my mom couldn't really she wasn't in control of my hair anymore. So from then on, I said, look, I can't do it anymore. And I went on the natural journey, big chop. And even then, it was like accepting an afro. I had never seen an afro, but on Good Times, like I didn't even know that was a thing. The natural hair movement was just starting around this time, and I just felt confused. And so yeah, it was hard at first, but then more YouTubers started like sharing their journey and on Facebook, and that like her name was the Naturalista or something. I hope she's still out there, but she changed my life. She talked about eating healthy, drinking water. I didn't know anything about eating healthy at all and how the food you eat affects your body. I literally hands down her, and there was another woman, beautiful brown baby doll. She like has a whole thing now. But those two women changed my life, and I'll say saved it in the way of hair and health. So I want to thank them, whoever their real names are. So yeah, that was the solution, like watching videos and just slowly finding products that worked, which was really expensive and really hard, but it finally happened.
Yeah. Now, I was going to say, I think that for me, there was a process of transitioning natural, like you said, Doctor, transitioning natural. I am natural, and I've done the big chop a couple times, but I don't wear my natural hair out just because of the work that it takes to wear my natural hair out. For my hair, a twist out is not a twist out, and a wash and go is not a wash and go. And because I'm active very often, wearing my hair out it's a process, and it's something honestly that I'm not comfortable and used to doing. And I think I use more of my active lifestyle of it is as an excuse as well to like take the time to be patient with it and learning the products and things of that nature. So it's definitely something that I still, as a woman, go back and forth with, and am trying to figuring out what needs to be done and how to accept what my hair is, as well as making sure that it works for my lifestyle and my busy lifestyle, not just active lifestyle, but busy lifestyle. That's the other thing. It's not just the fact that I sweat, but it's the fact that I am just on the run all the time. I can't take an hour in the morning to do my hair, unfortunately. So it just doesn't work like that.
Yeah, it's real.
Exactly.
We getting there. We get there. We might as well just hop right on in. So we talk about some of the what are the most significant factors that we have to overcome, right? And I know sweat's up there because I blow dried my hair out, and when I go on a run, I'm thinking to myself, okay, if I run for 45 minutes, how much sweat is going to pool in the middle of my ponytail? Right? So I'm like, how loose can I keep my ponytail so like it can air out while I'm so what are some of the things when it comes to our hair that you've had to overcome or consider when it comes to being physically active? So we know sweat. Are there any other ones out there?
Well,
I think
have a good hair
environment.
color. I have gray hair. It's one thing. I have a lot of gray hair, so I color my hair too. And color, and even though I'm natural, it damn and I swim all the time, so all these chemicals. But I'm not ready to embrace the gray yet. So that's something else I have to consider when I'm working out my hair and workout schedule and everything.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I think the other part of that is, where is your activity taking you? Are you outside a lot where you have the sun drying out your color, whether it's natural or processed color? Is it just drying out the moisture? Are you in a humid climate, dry climate? Like what? So those I think are the biggest factors in addition to just the fact that yes, we sweat when we're working out, but just what is your environment like?
Yeah, that's big.
Dominique's back,
Oh, good.
but she's on mute.
Oh, we can't hear
I
you.
hear you.
See, India,
There we go.
before we got started, India was like, oh, this is good. This is going to be great. No, I was like, girl, you better knock on some wood. Because that's not the type of conversation. That's like when you work in a place that's always like crazy. Oh, it sure is a quiet night tonight. Everybody's like, no, don't. It's like that meme where like, don't say that. So I caught the last of what you guys were saying. Oh, Dominique's in the room. Hey, Dominique.
Oh, there's another one. I thought you were joking about what she said about you.
I'm like, yes, you're still here.
No, Dominique, Dominique, can you hear us?
I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes. All right. So
hi, everyone.
Hello.
We had a couple of malfunctions. Let's reset. Let's take a deep breath. Reset this room real quick. So for those of you that are in the room, hello. Thank you for being here. We are having a conversation about being active as Black women and just some of the things that we go through. And the mission of what we're doing today is to hopefully inspire some Black women or some women of color with some thicker hair, some different textured hair, to get out there and be inspired and know that they can be active in any facet physical activity that's out there. We have women on this panel today that do a multitude of different physical activities. So this is a place that is a safe space. It's to inspire, uplift, and encourage. So we hope that you're in the conversation that we are having so far. If you are on my Instagram live, there is a direct link in my bio that you can click that will take you straight to this conversation. I'm cool if you just want to stare at me all day, but if you want a chance to look at these amazing women that are on the panel, and I'll just let them do a quick introduction. Just say your name, your handle, so they can hear you, and then maybe they'll come on over on this side, and then we'll restart the conversation that we were having. So my screen shows me Dr. Stephanie first. So introduce yourself really quick.
Okay.
And then we'll move on to Sonia, India, then the other Dominique, and then Dr. Wee, then the other Dominique. That's how I see it. There we go.
Awesome. Well, thank you all for having me again. My name is Dr. Stephanie Akumani, and you can find me on IG at Dr.Stephanie Akumani or at Bloom Wellness Lab. And I'm a runner, a marathoner, a yogi, indoor rock climber, and mom, and podcast host, Agility in Bloom. I'll stop there. Happy to be here.
Hey everybody, it's Sonia Crump. IG handle is 4, number 4, and then blended life. I am mixed race. I identify as Black. I also have a blended family, and so deal with all kinds of being blendedness. Excited to be here. As far as the activity, I echo being a mom is definitely an activity, and a runner, a strength trainer, a yogi to maintain balance. So thank you again for having us.
All right. Hello, everyone. I am India. You can find me on Instagram at Eye of Indigo Runs, and that's ENDIGO for the Indigo. And you can also find me at Miles from India. That is where you will find my website as well as my YouTube channel. I am also a podcaster at The Run Duo. I am a marathoner and a road racer. So I completely enjoy all of that. Running is my thing, and moving my body. I always say movement in miles. So just moving your body whichever way it is. Thank you so much for having me, and I look forward to continuing this conversation.
Hello again. I'm Dr. Weeda Brown. I'm an orthopedic surgeon as well. I'm a runner. I do triathlons, and I'm a podcast host and an author. Running is cheaper than therapy is my podcast and book. My Instagram is We Life, OUI Life, OUI Love, and Dr. We Life, We Love is my Facebook handle.
Awesome. Hello, everybody. Happy to be here. I'm Dominique Bonilla. I am a nurse, a mom, a hiker, swimmer, love to do outdoor activities in general. And my Instagram handle is at Nick, N-I-K _ Neek, Nique.
All right. That was, man. So I just want to say that I am so honored to have you ladies on the panel with me. When I was choosing the women that I would ask to do this, the purpose was to have women from a multitude of backgrounds, with a multitude of textures, with a multitude of experiences, right? I get asked the question quite a bit, what do I do to maintain my hair? But I felt like instead of me directly answering it and maybe not meeting the needs of someone and someone still not leaving inspired to go get active and sweat it out a little bit, I would ask just a group of women that were up and ready to have the conversation. And I'm so glad that you answered the call. We started off talking about where we first had our first kind of moments where we knew our hair was different, being active, and we'd have to care for it a little bit differently. A lot of us said, young, when we were young, we figured out, hey, we can't do what everybody else do when it comes to our hair. And over time, Sonia mentioned it was this acceptance that we had to have to be able to embrace our hair first, to be able to do what was necessary to be active. I know India talked about learning how to do braids at a very young age in order to maintain her hair, because her mom didn't have quite the patience to do it yet. And Stephanie talked about at her young age, not young age, in college, watching that Chris Rock's Good Hair, seeing that perm, and was like, I don't think I'm going to do it no more.
I couldn't do it.
Dr. Wee just talking about swimming and the fact that as a swimmer, she knew like out the gate, like like her hair was suffering and all that chlorine, and figuring out ways to like keep it healthy and maintain it. So who we did not get was the other Dominique on the panel. I had to ask you, what was the first time when you knew that being active, that your hair, that you had different struggles than other people?
Yeah, so similarly, I grew up swimming, and I had a mom who was not into hair, no interest in learning about hair. And so I had to learn pretty early on that chlorine in the water, being on a swim team, was so damaging, being in the water multiple times a day for practice. But then I just grew up playing sports a lot. So whether it was in the water or I was playing basketball, softball, the helmets on the head when you're playing softball, the batting helmets, just like, oh,
that was rough.
The sweat, you know.
Hat hair is a real thing.
Hat hair is awful.
Yeah.
And so, so yeah, just kind of having to learn ways to protect my hair, ways to keep my hair moisturized. Like I heard before, with different humidity, dryness, depending on the season. And that was back when there weren't as many products out there for like natural hair. I feel like the natural hair movement kicked in more like recently. And back then we were dealing with some products out there that were not supporting that.
Yeah, I was going to say Royal Crown and Blue Magic. That does not work.
Pink lotion? Was it pink lotion?
Yes.
Oh, pink lotion. Yeah, casters. Yeah. Oh, man. You see the bottle. Shake it out. Get it for the last drop.
That black sheen.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. That's crazy.
Yeah, so no, it's so funny when we talk about it. We can laugh about it now, but when we talk about certain instances where we struggled and tried to maintain our hair, I can think of one when I was younger. I used to cut up towels like the hand towels,
Mhm.
and I would part my hair and I would put the towels inside my hair and then put it in a ponytail because I would hope that that would dry up the sweat.
Oh,
So that when I was done, then it would, and the only thing that I ended up doing was having moldy smelling hair.
oh man. It was a good idea though.
Yeah, it was,
Yeah.
it's a young mind trying to like
Improvise. You're trying to pivot.
Yeah.
so instead of stuffing my bra, I was stuffing my hair.
You might have been onto something. You just had the
Right.
wrong material
Yeah,
in
it
your
sounds
hair.
like an invention that you need to trademark, like
Right.
ASAP actually.
So was there anything, so now we talked about when we were younger and kind of the hiccups and getting there. Was there something that inspired you, or was there a moment when you just said, you know what, this is what I want to do, and I just gotta, like, my hair is got to be the second thought. Like, I want to be active, I want to be healthy. This is the thing that I have to do.
Well, I will say 100%. I realized for one, I was mentoring young girls while I had my afro, and I was going in between weaves. Like I think India, did I say your name correctly?
Yeah.
I like had weaves for days. Like I loved weaves; they were great. When I could find a person that didn't do it like too tightly, it was great. It was expensive, but it was effective.
Yes,
But then,
girl.
yeah, it really was, and I totally understand. And then I just got to a point where I was getting tired of spending that much money on it though. And I was in grad school. I didn't have a lot of money being a grad student. And I said I was mentoring girls, and I was like, and it's like I still understand both ways. So it's like no shade to it. Oh, please. I personally I was tired. I was like, I need to figure this out for me at that time. And I realized I was embarrassed to go in front of the girls that I was mentoring when I had a non-weave day. You know, they say like wait a little while, give it some rest. And I
Yeah.
was like, give it rest. But then
What they say, let your scalp breathe.
yeah,
Is that
let
what
the
they say?
I was like, what you mean? But that mean I'm gonna have to like uncover the secret. And so I was scared that the girls wouldn't respect me in the same way because like there was nobody. It's like Baltimore City, the school I went to in elementary school, which now was in middle school, and I gained such rapport with these girls. But I knew half of it was because I had this bomb blank weave, and I was really nervous about what it mean to take it off. And so I just say, you know what? I need to prep because I said, I don't want my daughter. I was in a serious relationship and I knew sooner or later I was going to have a child. And I said to myself, if I'm not comfortable with my own hair now in front of these girls who I love and respect, what will that mean for me and my daughter? And what am I going to be bringing to her? And also I was exercising, I was running all the time with my then boyfriend and then fiance and now husband. And he said, this is the last one. I'll be quiet after this so everybody can share. But I know what it was. Another one was I had a wedding of my best friend to go to. And I had the thought come in my head, is it unprofessional for me to wear my natural hair versus a weave? Or like, and it's funny because it's a wedding, but like, is it stylish enough? And he said, if you don't wear your natural hair, it is beautiful. And when he said that, I was like, oh, you like it? Because I was halfway worried about how he felt about it. Right. And he was like, I think it makes you different and beautiful and it's yours. Like, either way, you're beautiful, whatever you choose, but know that you're beautiful no matter how you choose. And then I was like, so I'm my own worst critic. So I need to like stop this because I can't afford it. And I want my hair to breathe. So that was my story on that. It was crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll piggyback because there's a couple things that you said that resonate with me. So when I was younger and I was able to do cornrows, I transitioned into micro braids, which when I was younger, that was the it thing to be able to having micros. And it wasn't about preserving the edges. It was not about that at all. When you were younger, you just knew that micros was where it was. And I think for me, for several years, I went from micros, and braids, and then sew-ins. And even into my adulthood, it was sew-ins. And it wasn't until I feel like everyone started embracing the natural hair, because I don't feel like the natural hair journey, I feel as if it's still recent. Like, it's not the beauty of having a shaved head or the beauty of having a fro or the beauty of having your hair out natural I feel like it's within the last maybe even 10 years or so of acceptance. Like
For
this,
sure.
and I say acceptance meaning acceptance of society. And so for me, just even the whole dating scene, like I felt like I was not pretty unless I did have the weave or the flowing, the nice flowy look, because my hair did not do what others did. There was no wash and go for me. It may have looked nice when I had conditioner in it, but then it shrunk way in, and it's like an inch long, and it was the whole situation. So for me, it was not only just a transition internally, but it's a transition in accepting where society is and accepting what it looked like to have certain textures. And for me, it was always envying people that could just do the wash and go, or that if they got their hair wet, they could just slick it back really quickly. But it was always a process. And even to this day, it still is a process. And I do have a huge connection to the weave, and it is very expensive, but it works for me. And that's just what I accept and I do is, the sew-ins and the wigs, and I do pay a little extra to make sure it looks nicer, but that is just kind of where I am now. And my fiance, of course, accepts the natural, but it's still a work in progress internally for me on the acceptance piece.
It takes time.
Oh yeah, and we have Bernadette who said she just threw it. She said, I had to lock it. She was like, straight to locks.
What's my next phase?
Dr. Rita, go ahead.
Well, I've gone through several phases. When I was in high school, I just got a perm. In college as well. But I think I'm more active now than I was younger. I was in the band and I could never go out because I tried to put rollers underneath the hat and they wouldn't fit because my head was big. So it's like I always had to go home like after we band, which I wound up quitting the band. Not the reason wasn't my hair, but I couldn't go out because my hair was a mess. And then when I went to medical school, I didn't know anyone, so I just cut all my hair off, and I had a pseudo natural because I put a texturizer in. It was cheap, and I could dye it myself. I got a haircut maybe like once a month, and that was good. And then I got micro braids. That was my little next phase, but my hair broke off around the edges, so you used to go to Africans and they braid tight. And then what was my next phase? I think when I started swimming again, I did sew-ins, and because I can't wash and go. And if I do, I remember when I took swimming lessons before when I lived in Philly, it took me longer to do my hair than it did to do the lessons. I'm like, I don't have time for this.
That part. That part. When we talk about something that was said was when we think about, is this professional? Right? Like, is our hair professional? And, I said it before, is that there were laws that were just passed that gave Black women the right to own our hair, right? To own how we want to wear it. And even though those laws are in place, we understand as Black women, sometimes just because there's a law in place doesn't necessarily give us the free reign, right? Doesn't necessarily give us the comfortability in all spaces. So what would you say for women that are in the professional space who have to balance doing their hair and being active? What challenges have you ladies faced, and how have you been able to overcome those?
Ooh, that moment of silence there was a heavy one.
Yeah, it was.
Dominique, you know how to pack a question, that's for sure. So on the professional side, and that might be a topic for another conversation of just natural hair in the professional setting, but it's really being able to, again, just be comfortable in wearing your natural, whatever that looks like. If it is, hey, you've had a hard training session or week, it might just be that your hair is, being moisturized with a braid and, a nice head wrap, and being that's still okay and that's still professional. But really being able to have those conversations with your managers at work and honestly with yourself to make sure that you are in that positive space where you're coming to work 100% authentic, which is you're still presentable, you are representing your full self, whatever version that is. If it is your full self, is that you are wearing your natural with your head wrap and you're moisturized and you're having a protective style underneath, that's great. If your 100% whole self is you are doing sew-ins and protecting your hair that way,
Mhm.
that's fine too. But really being 100% authentic, I think, is just across the board the way to go. And especially if you're trying to balance all of life stuff, being professional as well as being, an active, moving woman is going to be huge.
Mm.
Totally.
Yeah, I would say in the experience I had.
Oh, Dominique, you're cutting out on us.
Oh no, I'm not sure. Can you all hear me?
Yeah, it's better.
Okay. Was actually interviewing was the time I had the most. That interviewers would always bring up my hair, and I'm like,
What?
do with like that's not an interview question, and I'm
Mm-mm.
What did
comfortable.
they ask? What did they ask specifically? I'm just curious.
If it was my real hair,
What?
if it was naturally curly, do I color it often? I would have my
Mhm.
color my hair, highlight, and so just questions like that. And I was just like, maybe I should straighten it. Maybe I should come in and not come in with my natural hair because what it feels like is it's a distraction from what I'm
That's
bringing.
their problem that they're getting distracted by your hair. It's so outrageous. It's like the short skirt. You got to keep your eyes off of my
Right.
my legs. I get to wear whatever I want. Crazy.
But now, like being in the workplace, I think one of the things balancing it within healthcare, especially during the pandemic, was all the PPE, like having to like don off and don on things and just being like, oh my goodness, I just want to cut my hair off because I have to cover, we have to cover it. I have to put, these N95s on, and it's like leaving the marks in my hair, and I'm like, okay, this is a lot. Getting tangled, caught up, all the mask straps getting caught up in your hair.
Mm-hmm.
You're just like, all right, I gotta wear something over my hair to protect it so that I can put all of this, the goggles and all of that over my hair. So some professions, right? Natural hair being something that you want to protect from the different things you have to put on your hair or on your body. But yeah, I feel like for the most part, and once I was, solidified in my role and got to show who I was, my hair became less of a focal point. But I do remember in interviews just being like, interesting, like my
Mhm.
keeps being mentioned. And, I know this doesn't happen to everyone. So,
Yeah, I think one of the things that I had to come to grips with is that as much as I like to style my hair, like have oh, today I want to do this, and today for me, because I am active, I have actually had to make some concessions, right? I've had to say, maybe my fancy way of doing my hair is putting my part on the left side instead of the right side. I don't know, it's making some concessions because I know I'm going to be sweating. I know that I don't have the time to wash, blow dry, because, nobody is sticking well, some people might, but I'm not sticking a flat iron on some, 4-day-old pressed sweaty hair. And then even with my curly hair, I had to really learn to love my waves and love the hair that I naturally had, so that I did feel okay with wearing my natural hair in a ponytail and saying to myself, this is professional. And I really have to say, one of the eye-opening moments to me had nothing to do with me. It's for my daughter. My oldest daughter has, and we were talking about textures and we were talking about grades of hair. My hair, as much as I've had issues with it, there is a privilege in the hair that I have, right? And I have to acknowledge that there is a privilege. It doesn't. India said it before. It flows, right? It doesn't have that tight curl to it. But my daughter has, I think her hair is like a 4C, somewhere in there type hair. And I remember we were getting ready for an event and we had just went for a hike. And I was like, okay, you have to hurry up. I need to hurry up and wash your hair and do all this because I need to blow dry it. And I was like, because, you have to be in your nice dress. And she was like, well, isn't my natural hair
Nice.
nice?
Right.
Like,
Yep.
can I just wear my natural hair?
Right.
And I was like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
I messed up
Right.
because I've equated fancy
To
to a
straight
certain type of
Straight hair.
polish
because
and
in my
bouncy.
experience, this certain type of hair has gotten me jobs. This
Right.
certain type of hair has got my foot in doors that my natural hair may not have. And so now I'm projecting. So basically I'm doing somebody else's job for them and, you know, teaching my daughter that her natural hair isn't beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to reprogram, and I'm looking down. I'm sorry, because I have you guys down here and I have you guys up here. So I'm looking down and up, but I had to reprogram myself in order not to deteriorate my own daughter's self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
So that is what led me into now when I go out and I'm working out, I'm like, after I'm done, I'm not stressing too much about how I'm going to maintain my hair because I go, okay, if it's done, if it's up, if it's presentable, I'm fine. There's no like formula of,
Mm-hmm.
you know, straightness that it needs to be presentable. So I don't know if that resonates with anybody, but
100%.
yeah.
Yep. I was just going to say that as all of us are, whether we're official mentors to young women, whether they are in our professional lives, if they are in a community organization, if they are our nieces and our goddaughters, or just our best friend's kids, whatever that is, or if it's just a community member who sees you out running, being a positive role model is a big thing in all parts of our life. So if they see you out there being active, and if your you know, workday hair is then, as I call it, the mom bun, you know, which I'm really good at doing now, or a nice ponytail, then you know what, that's okay, because they've been able to see you handling your personal self-care of
Yeah.
being active, as well as taking the kids to school, doing all these things in your other parts of your life. So to me, it's not so much about how I'm looking as much as what's the overall package that I'm able to tell a person that I'm mentoring, or my niece or my goddaughter. Like, to me, that's the bigger message of like, what is the overall experience that you're able to share and have them, you know, want to model.
Ooh. Ooh, yes. Any other ones before I throw in this next question? No? All right, next question. And we were laughing about it earlier, but now it's going to make sense. What are we using in our hair? What products? Okay, because we laughed at Blue Magic, so we know Blue Magic. We laughed at the pink lotion. What products are you ladies using in your hair to keep it strong and moisturized? Are you still trying to find the right balance? You know, our listeners and those on the live, they want to know.
Shea Moisture, Auntie Jackie's. They have good stuff for kids and adults. Those are my go-tos. Shea Moisture for like the past like 7 years. Like they got it all. My daughter found one. They have this foaming like mousse, and she was like, yeah, she was like, I've finally found the magic one, Mom. Like it really moisturizes, like boom, like boom, like if I could go and like make a commercial for them right now, I'd be like, thank you for supporting my whole family, even my husband. Like it's helped him so much. And they created a men's line, which was helpful, but they still could improve. So you guys need a little more work on the men's side. But yeah, Shea Moisture, Auntie Jackie's, they are my like go-tos, and I'm so grateful for them. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, I'll piggyback on that. Shea Moisture has been consistent for the longest time. Every once in a while, I'll get curious, you know.
Yeah.
Right. My Instagram, it's like you start getting advertisements for something. I'm like, all right, try this one. I tried this one called Bounce Curl. Didn't love it. Went back to Shea Moisture. So that the foam that you were talking about,
yeah, so good.
It's so good
for everybody.
It doesn't. It holds, it moisturizes, and it lets your hair do, you know, what it wants to do. It's not all stiff and like.
Right. It's so good. Oh my God.
Men's, and I agree with you, because my husband started getting some of the men's products, and I'm like, okay, I see they're trying to branch into that market. They're trying.
Yeah.
Okay. Sonia, India, Wita.
Well, when I do my hair, Um, I use Shea Moistures, or like when I have, if I have a sew in, I don't have to worry about it. Or if I wear a wig, I'll just use, my hairdresser has products just to keep it moisturized, and
Mhm.
Okay.
I have a real itchy scalp, so she has stuff for that. So I use her products and Shea Moisture for the most part.
Okay.
Yeah. So for me, unfortunately, I have not found that Shea Moisture and Miss Jackie has worked for my natural
Oh.
hair. I've actually found that it is a little bit more drying for me. So it does okay for the first couple hours, but it does not hold. And that's probably because my hair is like soaking it all up. So I have not found that works. But on the moisturizing and conditioning side, Olaplex is something that I swear by on using that, especially for my scalp. But on a daily, I do have some oils and dermatology requested oils and stuff that I use for my hair. So
Nice.
yeah. But like Dr. Brown said, when I have my sew-ins and my wigs, I pop some things on and I keep it moving, even though I do wash my hair, y'all. But like, it's not an everyday thing that.
we Black, we know.
Yeah, girl.
Yeah,
so
we understand.
on, and if I don't feel like melting my lace, I throw on a hat and I keep it moving. So like that's
I have a quick question for those who wear wigs and protective styles. Do you have a protective style that you prefer for a specific activity? So, Dr. Wida, you swim. Do you have a protective style that you prefer for swimming versus running versus biking? India, I know, like, do you have different styles for different? We talked about it earlier. Humidity, weather. Like, let us know.
Well, the box braids are good for swimming if they're not too heavy. I like them like, and they can't be too thick because I have to cycle and put a helmet on. So I remember I did a race once and I had thick box braids and my cap popped off my head and
Oh
then my goggles
no.
popped off and this guy thought I was drowning. I'm like, I'm just, he would call himself picking me up, I guess. So I had to which I'm like, I'm fine, I'm just, but I had to swim the whole thing with my hair out. It was, I felt gross. So I learned the best is like those little, like, I guess cornrows, the extra hair. That's the best race hair because I have to wear better. And I have to look cute and I put my helmet on. I can swim, but it only lasts for 2 weeks because it gets frizzy. See, all these things that other people don't have to think about when you're trying to be cute and trying to work out.
Yeah. So for me, over the last, I think when I initially entered into like doing distance running back in 2014, it was sew-ins for me, and I would just pull my sew-in up into a high bun, and I would put a little sweatband on, and I would keep it moving. I would make sure I had several of them to be stylish with my outfits. And it wasn't until over the last couple of years, I've always been a hat girl. Like I love hats. And I feel like if anybody knows me, usually on race day, you see me with the hat on. Like I always have on a hat. But honestly, hats are kind of my other protective style. I guess it's my way of being cute, but it also is my protection. And I just say that because when I kind of moved away from sew-ins and doing more of wigs because I was having an issue with thinning hair. And so now with thinning hair, now that I'm going to a dermatologist and have gotten certain diagnoses with my scalp, wigs have been more of a thing for me. But I'm not going to wear a wig and run. Like it's just not going to happen. So majority of the time, if you see me with flowy hair, it's a sew-in. If you don't, and you see my little puff in the back, that's me embracing my natural. And you're gonna see me with a hat on though. Like you probably won't see me with just my natural hair out, but I always have a ball cap on either front or to the back like this. So usually on race days, I have a cap on in my shades, and that's kind of my protection as well as kind of like it's kind of like my vibe. Like that's just kind of what it has worked for me, and it works with my hair. So, and it soaks up my sweat. So that's another thing what people don't realize. I sweat really bad. And so the hat soaks up a little of my sweat so it's not dripping in my face. And so that kind of works for me as well.
Nice. So before I do my last couple of questions, because like I said, I respect people's time. I want to know, does anybody, we have a question in, so we're going to jump into this question real quick, and then we will move on to the question that I have for you ladies. It says, what advice do you all have to someone starting the natural process? So just starting, like baby in the game. What is some advice that you guys would have?
believe that you are beautiful no matter what. Like, that is the ultimate, because it won't matter if you try to get locks, because then, oh, it's going to be short at the beginning. Or it won't matter if you wear a bandana. It won't matter if you wear anything. You have to, like, just, I've had to do that, like, with my own mom, like, help her pour into her what she poured into me, and really believe it. Like, I don't know, it just takes time, like affirmations, writing it on your mirror. I don't care what it is, on your computer, on your phone, screenshot, I don't care. Like, just, I am beautiful. And see what stories you were told, and like write them down, slash them out, they're lies. Like, that's the first thing. And then just try products, make a budget for hair products, because you might go for a few and it might get expensive, but don't feel like you never figured out. Just find it as an exploratory journey of finding what works for you. And last thing, don't compare yourself to anyone. Find inspiration in others, yet you are not them. Like India said, like her hair texture is completely different, and she's realized that. And that could be seen as a roadblock, but it's just something that maybe you can find another resource for. So I would use Instagram, like hashtags really specifically to the type of hair you have. Go on YouTube, like use the internet as your resource, like 100%. TikTok, type in the thing that you have the question about. Google is like a godsend. The answer is there, I promise you. So that's what I would say.
Yeah. I think along with that is really accepting where you are with your self-esteem, like really assessing where you are with your self-esteem and your hair. Because I think that there are people that do the big chop, but then they also want to wait until it gets to a certain length, or, you know, whatever it is. And so being patient, assessing where you are with your self-esteem in the state that your hair is now and what your hair can look like. And it's really going to take time. And don't feel bad if you do have to transition into a alternative style until you get your hair to where you want it to be. It is all temporary. And I think, just like she said, you are beautiful regardless. And I mean, I know a lot of people say it's just hair, but hair is really big for Black women, and it is a piece of our identity. It is a piece of who we are. It makes us walk different. It makes us sass different. So when people say it's just hair, cut it off, it'll grow back, like I don't own it to that, because at the end of the day, hair can give you a totally different attitude, and so you just have to figure out what that is for you and embrace that piece of it.
Yeah, so I'm going to quote my cousin. So she's a stylist in Ohio, and so she says that hair is our crown, which is true. And so if you keep yourself grounded in the fact that you are a queen, or if you're a younger lady watching this, you are a princess, your mom's the queen, but you are royalty, and own that, you're going to be just fine. The other part that I just want to tag on to the comments that have already been shared is patience and acceptance, because the journey is a journey. And as a woman, so what's going to work for you when you're in your early 20s and your teenage years, and growing up as a young girl with your mom and aunties helping you out with the hair, is probably not going to work for you when you are in your late 20s, graduating from school and in the stresses of grad school, or starting a relationship, or ending a relationship, or whatever else. And it's not going to work for you when you've had kids and your hormones are changing, and it's not going to work for you later on in life. So just accepting that journey, it is a constant journey. And I think the sooner that we're able to accept that in all of our various phases, whether we're trying a natural style, we are starting a new cycle in life of motherhood, or hormonal changes, whatever it is, it makes us a better person. So acceptance is huge.
Well, I just want to throw in, Bernadette said, people think locks are easy. If you can go through the first 7 months, you're a trooper. Appreciate every stage, because you'll never get any particular stage back. Wow. Yeah. That's very true. That's life, right?
This is 7 years of locks right here.
Yeah.
And also breakage too. And, you know, just stay the course, moisturize. If anything, I say, to my daughter, is your hair healthy and is it strong? Meaning, we need to moisturize your hair. Everybody has a different like rate and cadence to which they need to moisturize. For us, is every day. And the lock method: liquid, oil, cream, liquid, oil, cream, if that works for you. For my mom, it's only liquid and oil. So it's like really just exploring what do people that are really into natural hair say, and seeing what works for you.
Yeah, it's definitely, like I said before, we learn how to be chemists with our own hair. We learn how to we learn subtle ways to embrace and make ourselves beautiful in certain ways, but sometimes we do it in a what is societal norms
Mm-hmm.
instead of what are our norms as Black women, because we face just structurally in this country and other countries, because where you go you hear the same thing about, you know, just us being Black and our presence in general. So and those who identify as Black, I think one of the major keys, I don't want to go off topic too far, but I want to address when we're starting any natural process, whether it's just washing our hair and allowing our actual curls to show,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's allowing our natural hair to be full and wear an afro or lock it, or whether it's even just wearing protective styles, or even if it's deciding after doing all that that you want to go back to a perm, that you want to go back to you want to wear weaves, you want to wear those protective styles, as long as you're comfortable in that hair and you learn to love that hair,
Mm-hmm.
then that's the it. That's the part.
I agree.
As we begin to wrap up, I would like to leave this with on a positive note. What has loving yourself through fitness, you know, just being like, okay, hair, you gonna be what you gonna be. We're gonna figure it out. What has fitness brought you as a Black woman? Like, what has it given you?
I would say I'll start. I feel like it feels like a sense of freedom, you
Mm-hmm.
know, to be outdoors, and claiming space that's not and historically hasn't been, you know, our spaces. You know, being out in the mountains, the water, you know, rock climbing, biking, you know, just being out there and being visible, um, it's empowering, and if you feel in nature, and I'm like, oh, we need this.
Yes.
We need this. You know, what you get from being outdoors and just, just kind of pouring yourself into whatever activity it is that you're doing, just what that does for your mental state, you know, what it does for you physically and mentally, I think is so special. And I want more people to experience that. I'm like, it's so necessary. So yeah, that's why I think freedom is the word that comes to mind.
Ooh, chills.
Yes. Totally.
I would say it's peace. It's like an escape from the stresses of life. And also, even when I have, may say, a hard race or a hard run or swim, but it's like I learn lessons that I can take to my other parts of my life. So it helps me just overall become a better person, a less stressed person, because stuff doesn't bother me. I'm like, when I had the worst race of my life, I'm like, if I can get through this, I can deal with all the other stuff
Yeah.
I deal with. I'm like, this is nothing. I can stay calm. So that's what it gives me, peace.
I love that, because I used to, after I gave birth to my daughter, I started back with running and marathoning, and I realized that the training, while my dad was sick and had cancer, I had to end up taking care of him the last 3 weeks of his life, and as an in-home hospice, basically his nurse. And that those marathon training sessions weren't about the run only. It was about the run because it felt so good. It was so free, like you said. But it was the discipline that you can do anything you put your mind to. You become invincible. That doesn't mean you don't cry, but it means you can get back up. And it shows you like you have this inner strength that you didn't even tap into, that you didn't even know was there. Like, it's just magic. And like you said, I think it was Nikki, or the other Dominique, I forgot, that yes, like everybody needs to be able to experience it. I think the world will be different if we got more opportunities to know that. I always call it find your peace and your inner beast. If we got to do both of those. Yeah. Totally. You live differently. You don't care. You don't care.
Yeah, I just found that running and just being outside has brought me kind of full circle. So I feel like it brings me community, mental clarity. It brings connection to myself, meaning I tap back into who I am what am I dealing with at the moment, and what do I need to do to process forward. But it has also connected me to community in a way that I never thought that I will be connected. And not only from you ladies here on this call, but just everyone else. I think when I first started running, it was a tap into community that I was like, oh, I didn't know I needed this.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a level of connection that I absolutely love. It's a level of confidence that it gives me. And that grit, like you said, during marathon training, it's that grit and dedication that when you get through those weeks, several weeks of training and you get to that race, you have already won when you get to the starting line.
Girl, yes.
That part.
You have already run. I tell people all the time, I'm like, the training is the hardest part. Race day,
That's nothing. You
Race day is the fun part. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's kind of one of those things where you have already won. And so the level of confidence, and honestly, to be a Black woman and to say I am a runner is powerful within its own.
So powerful.
Because, and also for me to be a Black woman, and for some people may call me a plus size Black woman, but I'm out here running these streets. I do it. I run these miles, and you might look at me like, "Oh, you're a runner." Yes, and I can talk to you all up and down about it, and I can tell you
over the
about the elites that you watch on TV. I can give you the word, so you can bring it. But that's what I do, and I embrace it, and I'm very confident within it. So
yes, it's a lifestyle.
It is. It is.
All right, Sonia.
Oh boy, so much head nodding and like yes and cheersing and toasting to all of those comments, but I would just expand on what India just said, and it's not just to be a Black runner or swimmer, because we have a lot of that representation here. It is to be a Black female athlete is amazing. I don't care what your sport is. I don't care if your sport for now is taking care of the kiddos. You know what? That's a sport.
Yes,
okay,
it is.
go chasing after those ones who are walking and those toddlers and just keeping them alive. That's a sport. So kudos to you.
Cheers.
To quote one of my favorite coaches, Justin, showing up is the toughest part. It's check done. So if you're able to start a run or put one foot in front of the other for a walk or a hike or a skip, I don't care what you're doing, your first stroke in the pool or a lake, that's the toughest part, and you're already doing it. So keep doing it. And I think what you get from being active is just that sense of freedom and accomplishment, right? Because it does take a lot. We have a lot going on in our lives, and to be able to carve out those 15, 20, 30, I mean, if you can get an hour, kudos to you, but just to get that time for yourself of not being mommed or wifed or caretakered or whatever your specific title is, to be able to just have that just you and your thoughts is a huge thing.
I'm like, can I add anything? Do I have anything? I don't know if I have anything, but you know what? I want to like wrap this up. We have you women here that do a multitude of things, whether it's running, biking, swimming, skiing, volleyball, hiking. I think I'm missing some stuff, but it just goes to show that as Black women, we are out the box. There's no box that we have to be in when it comes to our activity or what maybe we've seen that Black women do. There is no one thing, right? I want to make that very clear. But I do want to reiterate what you guys said. You guys said that it makes you feel connected to community, accomplished. There's a freedom, a peace. There's lessons that are learned. Discipline comes from it. There's an inner strength, community, and clarity. The thing that I would just add to that is, as a Black woman, physical fitness and being active has allowed me to be out the box in other areas of my life. It's allowed me to take control and start to dictate where I want to be and dictate the pathways that I want to take, and not let someone say, hey, this is what you should be doing. It's allowed me to chase passion, right?
Yeah.
So as we wrap up, thank you, ladies, so much. I'm not going to start crying on here.
I got chills when you said passion right from my back.
But I hope that we can continue these conversations. I hope those in the audience enjoyed the conversation. Those that are on my live, you guys can't see it, but we hit at one point in time, I think there was 53 people in the live. Nice. So I can't wait to have this as a replay for those who missed it in other places, because this was definitely just a great conversation all around. So on that note, Thank you everyone for tuning in. I leave everything that I do with two things. Number one, find your dirt and connect, but more importantly, be well, you're worthy, and hopefully you go and follow all of these ladies on their social media. All right.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Dominique, for hosting. Good job,
Thank
ladies.
you.
Bye.
Have a great day. Thank you so much.
Thank you.